I would say there are three basic ways that new historical methods have revolutionized the way we study these ancient myths. One is the discovery that a lot of modern languages derive from an ancient Indo-European root. So this means that even languages that don't survive in their entirety, we can reconstruct aspects of those ancient languages by comparing their words and their grammar to the languages that do survive. And this has also helped us then to decipher ancient writings that we used to consider to be opaque. So for example, Egyptian hieroglyphics. People had been interested in hieroglyphics for centuries, but they couldn't read them. And then the Rosetta Stone was discovered in the 18th century, and that included on it not just hieroglyphics, but also Greek and another written language that people could read. And as a result of comparing these languages, for the first time, hieroglyphics became decipherable for the first time. So that was a huge breakthrough. But there are ancient writing systems that exist that still haven't been deciphered, so there's a huge scope for students in the future. One of these, for example, is the language of ancient Crete, whereas the language of ancient Greece has been deciphered. It was deciphered in the 1950s by two Englishmen who had worked cracking code in World War II, so they were using those skills to bring to ancient languages. The language of Minoan Crete is still eluding us, so that's a real area for new endeavor. Obviously, scientific archaeology. In the 19th century, archaeologists became convinced that the stories that the Greeks told about themselves, the stories of Troy, for example, must refer to some real concrete experience. And so they went looking for these ancient cities, like the city of Troy, and lo and behold, they found that these ancient civilizations existed. And in fact, they found a whole civilization in ancient Greece that had been considered to not exist. It's called Mycenaean Greece, for the town of Mycenae. And the Greeks of this civilization lived in these enormous palace complexes, much bigger than anything that would have survived in classical Greece many centuries later. Then the third, I would say, is the discovery that ancient storytelling traditions go back hundreds, if not thousands of years. So the Iliad and the Odyssey were not written down by a guy called Homer at one sitting. They were the process of a very long period of historical development. So we can read these ancient epics, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, as almost as though they are archaeological artifacts. We can peel back layers of meaning from these texts, and we can get at what ancient peoples thought their own history was. So those three things, the deciphering of ancient languages, new developments in archaeology, and then, of course, this understanding of how ancient storytelling traditions are really essentially performance art. History used to be about performance, and we now have access to that.